How's everyone doing today?
Thank you so much. Can I just say, of all the candidates I've seen on the trail, you seem to be having the...
Oh, it's a very low bar you set, Trevor.
Well, electric cars, it's not something you have to do. It's awesome.
When's the last time you heard a politician say the words Fourth Industrial Revolution?
Here supporting the Yang.
Just now.
Here on a wonderful Sunday. If you haven't already,
And I am barely a
check out
politician.
Andrew Yang.
So, I'm a cool guy.
2020 for more info on Andrew Yang's presidential.
Because, I mean, it takes guts to come out and say, my plan is that we will give every single American $1,000 a month just for being here.
Yeah, it's like Monopoly Go. It's the first of the month.
You just get, yeah. But now here's the thing. I don't know
Bring
if you
that
played
down
Monopoly.
just a
It
little
always
bit.
ends in tears.
What sport is politics most like?
Alrighty.
Wow. I think the sport that politics is most like is professional wrestling, which is not even quite a sport. You are here today,
Oh,
so you're
duh.
what I call UBI curious.
That's why.
And
Do-do-do.
I seem to be something of a resource for people.
Okay, we got the chat open. That was part of the problem.
But you can probably tell that just by looking at my getup. A lot of identical looking outfits in the closet. If you've heard anything
2020,
about me in my
folks.
campaign, you've heard something
Let's
like
get
this.
it going. See if we can get anybody up on the stream here. Willing to support Andrew Yang.
Remember the first time you heard that? Nothing quite like the first time, am I right?
Well, we can actually go over some things on his webpage, which I find are quite helpful. So let's do this. I'm going to substitute this screen out. Let me go to studio mode. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring up... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to this stage because it's easier. And I'm just going to bring up Andrew Yang's page. Let's bring this over here so you all can see it.
People say to me all the time, you don't sound like
Let's
any
go to Yang
politician
2020.
I've heard before, and they love it. They're not like,
Because
"Oh,
that's where you get-
politician, fast."
Get to see Andrew Yang's campaign.
I bought clippers and I just go, they go around like that. Now
Okay, now let's go ahead and
they decided to upgrade me.
do the transition over. There we go. For those of you who haven't known already, let's check the status on Andrew Yang's bus tour fund to Iowa. Let's see here. Can we see where he's at? Or probably got to go to the bottom here. Alrighty, so we've got Andrew Yang. If you haven't already, give him your email and your zip code. Oh, look at that. He's at 1.5 million. He's got 500,000 more to go to raise. So if you haven't already, pick up a hat. I got a math hat. I'm probably going to pick up my tickets to the New Year's Eve here in New Hampshire, which I got the invite to, which I thought was really cool. Wait, show you guys that one real quick. 'Cause I thought that was really neat, man. You know. Yep, he's got his merch coming out. Contributions. Don't forget to make a contribution if you haven't. Andrew is raising in the polls, but right now our December grassroots donations are coming in slower than expected. That's why we're coming to you, one of our most dedicated supporters. This is important moment. We must hit every goal. So let's try to get to that 2 million goal for Andrew Yang. Yeah, right there. He's at 1.5. 2 million is going to be like somewhere right here-ish. I know I'm blocking everything. I know I'm such a butthead. But, so we have Andrew Yang's. We have it up and running. So check out Andrew Yang's channel. Or, not channel. He does have a YouTube channel, actually. I forgot about that. So let's go to my page here real quick. We'll jump on over to Andrew Yang's YouTube channel. Take a look at his channel. Which I have right here. If you haven't already, you can get that cool guy info on his channel here. He's at 134K. See his keywords here: YouTube Andrew Yang, YouTube channel, podcast Andrew Yang, presidential election. Those are the keywords he's using. Copy them, use them. If you're going to support Andrew Yang, I do, and I have. So let's see what we got here. So we have that up and running. Sorry, I'm playing with my robo arm. That's actually a scissor arm. And it works pretty good. Does the trick. I need to get a a little bit sturdier one. The one that came with my mic was a little cheap. But we have Andrew Yang up in here, so check it out. He's running for president. While we do that, let's just scooch that on over like so. Let's see what Danny's doing on YouTube right now. I believe she's running her stream. Oh, check it out. She's got the town hall, Andrew Yang. Good rolling. Look at that. She's got her vote Yang. Yep, there you go. Good way to do it. Encourage people. Great stream. Hashtag Yang Gang. Yeah, if you haven't already. For those of you catching the replay looking for other supporters to Andrew Yang, go hit up by Danny right here. She's at 1.04. So she's at 1,040-ish subscribers. Good for you. I know that's a tough choke point for me. I got stalled out there for quite some time. I sat there probably at 1,040 for about a month and a half. Just kind of fluctuating between there, but I wasn't really putting a whole lot of craziness into my work ethic here. So real quick, let's see here. She's got her little page up. Yeah, she's enjoying it. Like I said, I do provide people with YouTube help. If I find something cool or an avenue to help you explore or gain something, I'm more than willing to share. Just ask. That's a key point there for Idani. Great channel, by the way. She does some wonderful things. Go check it out. She does like high school interviews. She's in high school. Yeah, I know. But makes good content. It's a gamer. Interviewer. I think she'd make a great on-location interviewer or reporter, as you would call it. But here we go. We've got plenty of content here on Andrew Yang's channel. You know, long-form podcast, different info. He was on Joe Rogan. I saw him on Joe Rogan. I thought it was neat. I thought his comparison to how he mentioned his... give you an idea of like how down-to-earth he is. He was like, yeah, every month I wrote a check to my... student loans. I felt like I was writing a check to a whole other family, like I was paying my mistress or something. Which, if you haven't been there already or you haven't done student loans, they can be brutal from what I hear. I was lucky enough to get this thing called the Montgomery GI Bill for serving my country. Let's transition on back over here to the other one so you guys can kind of hear some of the stuff that he's got going on. I'm sorry if it's not super mixed.
Well, electric cars, it's not something you have to do.
Let's get
It's
popped
awesome.
on over. Whoop, leave it. Oh, I lost it. Totally lost it. Getting used to this again. Live streaming, doing the broadcast software. You know, 100% self-taught. Which is, I think, the main reason why I'm willing to teach other people, because I learned it one way. I'm more than happy to show other people to capitalize on what you've learned. Best way to know you know something is teach it. If you truly understand something and understand how it works, teach it. If you're struggling to learn something, the best thing you can do is if you have a younger sibling or older sibling is try to teach them. You know, everybody can learn. But let's go ahead and check on some stuff here for... Go back on over to the full stage. And we'll go look at Andrew Yang's channel here. We're checking out Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang for President 2020. Let's go ahead and go to his homepage, his actual .com here. You know, 2020. Andrew Yang 2020. Remember the bus tour. Don't forget about the bus tour. And if he's live streaming on his bus and you send him a donation, you got a pretty good chance he's going to call you. That was neat about his last live stream on the bus, minus all the technical difficulties and everything that led up to it. You know, when you're on the road, you can't really control all that stuff. That's why you got to have good tech people, as I like to say. And you seem to have some spot on people because they kind of seem to be able to remedy the issues at hand. But, you know, I always make the joke. There are 3 types of engineers in the world, right? All 3 of them are in a car. And cars brake, stop, don't work anymore. Car rolls to the bottom hill. Mechanical engineer gets out, he starts looking at the brakes. The electrical engineer starts looking at like the CPU, making sure the signal's being sent. And the IT engineer looks at the other 2 and goes, why can't we just push it to the top of the hill and see if it happens again? For those of you who work in corporate America know exactly what I mean when you call your IT desk and they're like, just restart your system. Let's see if that automatically solves the problem, which, 9 out of 10 times restarting your system from scratch will solve the problem in the PC world. That's why the biggest oxymoron, I believe, is Microsoft works. Because it doesn't. It's just there. Sorry if the audio is a little hokey. Just trying to get everything to lay flat right now. So we've got Andrew Yang on the board. If you haven't, let's check out some of the events he's got going on. That's the big thing right now. Like, what events does he have coming up here? So yeah, I had that. I had the math class in Denver listed on my info. I did not know he had another one in Spokane, Washington. Math is not like the math you would think, but it's basically he offers a course for people on his campaign who wish to help out with his campaign. And scrolling here, so we've got a holiday canvas. We've got the math class in Rochester, Reno Sunday canvas, Reno Friday canvas. Pick anytime, become a event moderator. That's cool. Doing YouTube. That's what I do. Monday, 17 times between December 15th and December 31st. Get up on there, become a mod. 41K December 15th. In the gas lamp. I should probably share that with a friend of mine here real quick because he lives in San Diego. He's also a Yang supporter. He's part of the Yang gang. Let me see if I can get this up to him here because I'm pretty sure he'd like to get out there. Give that to him right there. Let's set that up. The Holiday Pet Parade in Gaslamp, San Diego. Da-da-da. Oh, sorry here. So how's everybody, though? Everyone doing well today? Let him know about that community event so he knows it's there because he's a big supporter of Yang. Him and I got in a pretty good debate about it. Kind of saw it, and then after listening to Andrew Yang on the Breakfast Club and, like he says with the UBI, it's not that we need it. It's a great thing to have, but it's definitely going to be a necessity in the future. And just like anything else, if you start working on it now and get it out there now, it'll be better later versus worse off. So good point there. Let's see here. So we had so he's got on the 15th, he's got another one, concessions, consciousness hacking, X Humanity First. So he's got another event on Missouri. Let's see, Flossmoor, Illinois, Chicago. Not a fan of the state of Chicago. That's another place I've been to that I wasn't really impressed by it. I can see why a lot of people dislike socialism because Chicago's filled with a lot of poor examples of how socialism should work. Let's see, we got Evelyn Glean, Ashland. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got going on here. So we got all the way out to the 15th here. We've got Grass Valley, Spokane. Let's see if we can find, when's his next in-person event? Probably in Iowa. Let's see, Warriors game in San Francisco, the Yang Gang Hang, Huntsville Hangout, Nevada Hangout. See if we got any news real quick. Somebody was trying to tell me that he backed out or he boycotted the next he doesn't have like a news thing for him, like latest thing going on. So let's talk about some of this. So he's got some things like, everybody talks about, I've got a plan. Well, you can read about his plan. Here's his freedom dividend plan, his Medicare for All plan, human-centered capitalism. So that's found in the policy tab here. Right there, policy. So he's got his policies here. If you want to know more about his freedom dividend, how it all works, his Medicare for All, his human-centered capitalism, economy and jobs, his stance on the environment, democracy, the attack of dark money, which is true. His standing on legalized marijuana, he's for it. Save you the article, read. He's 100% for it. He believes it should be done and over with by now. He's on the stance that if some states allow it, why can't it be federally allowed? And just be across the board to simplify the equation. But once again, I'm not a fan of federal politics or federal governance on a state level. If a state decides to want to do something one way, it's the state's choice to do it, not the federal government's choice to make them comply. So. You know what I mean? Don't take that into the wrong context. I only speak for myself. I don't speak for anybody else. So unless I'm reading it off the board, which you can see, it's my opinion, just to be clear. And also for anyone asking, I am a veteran. I am a Trump supporter. And I also believe Andrew Yang is probably the best chance for the Democratic Party for success across the board to gain bipartisanship. That's why I am talking about Andrew Yang. Just so you know. Once again, if it's not being read off the screen, which you can see for yourself, it's my opinion. Right? So he's got his path to immigration. Let's look at his immigration plan, right? So we got path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. It's still a big platform for all Democrats. They like to talk about the immigration platform. You know, it's I think it, and don't, once again, my opinion, not Andrew's or anyone else's but my own. It seems like they want to cry wolf, you know, and say, oh, Russia interfered, but yet they want to allow illegals to no requirement of ID at the voting pools to verify that you're a citizen. And I think that right there is kind of like the same thing. You say you don't want foreign interference, but you don't want to check to ensure that people are U.S. citizens when they come to vote. That makes absolutely no sense. All right, so back to the facts at hand. So pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. This is Andrew Yang's policy here. Immigrants have been the source of hard work and innovation for America over the centuries. Yes, that's true. My mother's an immigrant. I immigrated from the Philippines. Met my father, who was in the Navy. So simplify that one. So here, rounding up, okay. One of the things I thought was really interesting in here was, did it update? I know that he had made yeah, here we go. Here's the problems to be solved. This is a good point here. So he says 11 million undocumented immigrants are currently living in the United States. Yeah, think about it. 11 million plus undocumented immigrants. These are people who don't pay taxes into the United States at all. Right? Other than when they like to buy routine stuff, but they don't pay like income tax. Most of them work under the table. If they do, their income tax, basically it's a good thing for the Democratic Party because they can't go file and get their taxes because 90% of the ones that are turning in tax paperwork or working under a fake Social Security or fake documents, and they're everywhere. And when I was a military recruiter in San Diego, you know how many people try to bring up documents and I'm like, oh, cool, I got a perfectly good applicant. And I go check out it, get a closer look, and oh, that's actually a counterfeit document. Wow. And although I know what was up, and although they never called the authorities, just kind of told people, like, look, I got to get a better birth certificate. And they never come back. Alrighty, so the vast majority of these immigrants aren't a security risk, having a volume of individuals in the country that aren't known to the U.S. is itself a security risk. Yeah. So how do you call it not a risk if it is a risk? Right? You can't have it both ways. My opinion on what's written here. That's like saying I'm for jailing prisoners, but I don't own a prison. You know, so what are you gonna do there, right? Or I don't believe in people confining people against their will. Well, I'm pretty sure everybody that's in a jail right now, that's confined, it's against their will because probability, yeah, whatever. These individuals tried to circumvent the legal immigration system in the United States, and a pathway to citizenship must reflect that fact. I think if you entered here illegally, you shouldn't have the ability to claim legal citizenship. Now, if you come here under like a visa and your visa expires, or you come in here under some kind of good legit pretenses, then yeah. But if you just come over here, either land, sea, or air, you know, or tunnel, I would suggest that you're a criminal, you know. An undocumented immigrant is a criminal in the United States. You go to any other country and you enter their country undocumented, they will 100% put you in jail. You know, I dare you to try to go cross the border from like Lebanon in and see what happens, or try to go from South Korea to North Korea and see what happens to you. You know, all right, so let's go on to another policy here. A policy that I think is actually pretty worth wild in mentioning because when I saw this, I went, wow. All right, so veteran employment and businesses, right? So here's his stance on that. Take a second. You can read it. I'm going to cut through some of this, right? A business created mentorships. So if you see here, brings up the word mentorship. He runs the Venture for America. Now, Venture for America is a thing that created jobs and helped job creations in multiple cities across the United States. Here's a catch to that, right? For startups and helping other entrepreneurs develop businesses. It's only available to people who recently graduated college, i.e., the people who have the best opportunity to get a real job out the door. You're helping them. When you got a kid who graduates high school who can't get in the military, can't do certain things, that's the kid, that's the person that needs to get a mentor and needs to learn something and needs to be helped. Not the person who just came out of college. Dude, you just chewed up a bunch of money. You should know some stuff, but most of you probably know how to pack a bong or how to, lift food from the cafeteria. I went to college too, right? I went to it as a much older adult, so I didn't live on campus. I actually only went to campus to go to class and then go home. And I went to UMass, so hats off. But one of the things I agree with what he's trying to do, because from example, give you my story. I got out of the military in 2009. I was medically retired from injuries I received in combat, right? Upon that, I wound up unemployed. In California, I could not go to the unemployment office. Why is that? Because I'm medically handicapped and I receive a pension. But if I was an illegal immigrant, I could use all the facilities there, but I was asked to leave, right? And I won't go into too much detail of that, but there's not a whole lot available for you. Because of my retirement, because of that, I was unemployed. I was struggling to find a job. I did not have a high school diploma. I had 10 years of military service in combat arms, which is 11 Bravo infantryman. This is not I did not want to be a cop. I did not want to work a security job. So both of those are out the window, forgetting that I'm a built-in ingrained leader, understand dynamics, can gain mutual agreements and get through certain hurdles without having the education and or the capacity for language. Try telling somebody to get off a wall or telling people that don't understand any word you're saying, but everybody on this planet understands one universal language. It's called gun in face, right? If I put a gun in your face, you're going to do what I want, right? And that's why, in the infantry, you learn the universal language of gun in face. But like I said, I was afforded an opportunity to a company I work for. I won't name a name. I've been there for the last 10 years, and I started in the company through a 3-process circulation. You started in 3 fields. You went and did one job for a couple months, learned another job, did that for like a year, and then did another one for another, I think it was about a year or 10 months. I forget how it all went down. It's 10 years ago. But through that process, I was put in touch with, in this company, which was outstanding, I was put in touch with not only a mentor on the business side, but a veteran mentor who had been working in the company for a while, who also understood the current combat environment I came from. Nothing against, just to be real here. If you're a Vietnam veteran, I absolutely respect you, and it means nothing in a disrespectful manner, but you'll probably go, for those that have never been to combat, will probably go, yeah, whatever, dude, you just totally dissed on them. Their war was different than our war, right? Their war was way worse than our war. The only difference between they had guerrilla warfare to deal with, we have bombs, IEDs. Guerrilla warfare, IEDs. Ambushes, IEDs, right? So, and an enemy that had pretty much came out of everywhere. I mean, think about it. There was, how many times were there people, military installations setting on top of, Viet Cong bases? They didn't know it because they were all tunnels. However, it's a different war. But being in touch with somebody, back to the mentor, being able to have a mentor that came from Iraq, that had been in Iraq approximately the same time which wasn't really much because I had went to Iraq in 2003 and was there till about 2005. So you got that right there, do the math, how long I was there. And having somebody who understood what I was dealing with condition-wise, which was really good, especially when you have PTSD and you don't know that you have PTSD, it really messes with you. it also really messes with you when you have TBI and you don't know what TBI is. So PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. TBI is traumatic brain injury. I have courtesy of both of those. Yeah. So you have that. You've got his mentor, newly hired veterans. These mentors can help veterans in their careers. I believe that. I'm a peer mentor through WWP, or have been for quite some time. And I believe that having a mentor that has similar experiences or comes from the same background as you makes the transition a lot easier than having somebody who has no understanding of where you're from, unless they have a high aptitude for compassion, right? And that's very rare, even in the psychology world. So yes, I just dissed on every psychologist who tries to help people with PTSD who's never set foot on combat, because I've worked with some of the best, and the very best will tell you, I have no understanding of actually what you're dealing with. I just study a lot of stuff, and I just try to help you through using the core body of psychology that I understand, right? It's generally the opener you get from people who actually are trying to help you. There's a lot of people from VA through outside services that are just quick to try to help you, but a lot of times they're non-beneficial. It's better to have a mentor or somebody who's been around that's going to help you. And I found that in corporate world was very helpful, because when you had an issue and you were explaining something to someone, sometimes they would get it and sometimes they wouldn't. But when you explained it to another veteran, they almost always got it. So the ability to relate and be able to adapt made it very good for transition. I've been in the company I work for now for 10 years. Like I said, I went from unemployed in California. Got a job opportunity here in wonderful New Hampshire, and drove my little bitty car just by myself with a bunch of clothes clear across the country with about $45 in my pocket. Yeah, I had to make a pit stop, hang out, wait for a check to come in, and then start driving again. And then when I got here, I had, I think, like $11 or something, or $7, and I had to work, went right to work. Luckily, the place was really good. And yeah, been here ever since, 10 years later, enjoy every bit of it. I'm glad I left the hustle and bustle of California. No offense to those that live in California, but something to say when you have a 40% working homeless situation in your state. And you have a bunch of Democrats who are all about socialism, yet there's so many people that are unemployed, and they spend billions and billions of dollars on the homeless programs, yet nothing is truly being done about it. Oh, and if you're wondering, that's actually not, it's green, but it disappears because of the backdrop for the green screen. Alrighty, let's go ahead and do this here.
I've seen on the trail. You seem to be having the most fun, are you?
For those of you who haven't already. All right.
Well, electric cars, it's not something you have to do. It's awesome.
When's the last time you heard a politician say the words Fourth Industrial Revolution? Just now. And I am barely a politician. So, I'm a cool guy.
Because, I mean, it takes guts to come out and say, my plan is that we will give every single American $1,000 a month just for being here.
Yeah, it's like Monopoly, but instead of passing go, it's the first of the month.
You just get, yeah. But now here's the thing. I don't know if you've played Monopoly. It always ends in tears.
What sport is politics most like?
Wow, I think the sport that politics is most like is professional wrestling, which is not even quite a sport. You are here today, so you're what I call
Alrighty.
curious.
You know, like class of economics you got to be in? Well, I got an A. I like how he says that.
I seem to be something of a resource for people who are UBI curious. My favorite color is blue, but you can probably tell that just by looking at my getup. A lot of identical looking outfits in the closet. If you've heard anything about me in my campaign, you've heard something like this. There's an Asian man running for president who wants to give everyone $1,000 a month.
Nah, cool.
Remember hearing that? Remember the first time you heard that?
She's using the Yang Gang.
Am I right? I'm going to be the first president to use PowerPoint in the State of the Union. How do you feel about that?
Let's see if anybody's streaming right now.
Yeah, break out the PowerPoint chant. Don't do it.
Rumors have begun.
Yes, this is the nerd.
Yang Gang for pres. Oh, Andrew Yang for President song.
People say to me all the time, you don't sound
Who is Andrew Yang? It's probably my favorite one. Oh, yay, look at that. He's got a picture. Oh, dude. He's got a thing with Alyssa Mathon. Well, not. Don't. Oh, he says don't attack her. She's a C-lister trying to be a B-lister. She's a has-been now. I never really liked her. You know, for those of you who don't know anything about Alyssa Milano at all, you know, she's a big person in the Me Too movement. We all have friends, you know, and we all have really close friends. We all know, like, what their spouses are up to and what's going on because, you know, everybody chitter-chatters. And she's best friends with Mr. Weinstein's, Mr. Me Too himself. And she's best friends with his wife. Yet, she didn't know about this stuff. I think she's full of hot garbage. You know, it's funny how she just jumped on this whole Me Too movement. Like, I believe everybody. You know, right? Belief over facts is her biggest mistake. You know, she runs her mouth and then just finds out she's just dumb now. You know, so to that, I truly believe Alyssa Milano could just fall down a dumpster and stay there. You know, that's why you're not on TV anymore. That's why nobody want to watch you. You know, it's one of the reasons why a lot of people just got tired of watching, what was it, that stupid show you had on CW that, you know, people watched because there was nothing else on during that time slot, or they were just waiting for the show before it. I think I watched like the beginning of some of that, the end of that show quite regularly because I forget what show came on after that was really big. Oh yeah, that's right, SmackDown. Yeah, don't forget SmackDown came on before her show, so yeah. A lot of people were just like, oh, put it on the channel, we'll wait till wrestling starts. Let's see what else we got here. And I honestly think that her whole stance on the whole thing was just to bring more BS and more drama to her, you know. Feeding the machine. Let's see here. Democratic presidential candidate makes a campaign stop in Dallas. That was a week ago. Chip Us, Yang Gang. Interesting. I think that's a movie. Let's see what we have here. Let's go to the home page on my YouTube. Let's see what's up on here. What do we got here? So we've gone ahead and talked about some Andrew Yang here. Message to American Airlines. Failed. I don't know what's going on there. I'm not a big fan of flying, but I know that it's a hassle lately, and a lot of people talk about, you know, the airline this, the airline that. They do this, they do that. Yeah, I think that's fun. The flying phone was a scam, so I built a real one. If you haven't seen, Mark Roberg just released the part 2 of his wonderful package thief thing, which I thought was really cool. He did 2.0. Fast launch, full pass. Let's see what else is new on YouTube here. Battling for freedom, huh? Prison fight. Trevor X95, the future rifle. I think it's a big hunk of plastic. See what else we got here. Yeah, I watch a lot of weird stuff on the internet. This is pretty much what I watch. Fearless in prison. Thought that was neat, the 30 days in jail thing. I think honestly what really matters is who's the driver of each car. Because anyone could say one car is faster than the other. You put an idiot driver in a faster car, it won't be faster than a better driver in a slower car. Well, let's see here. All right. So we've got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and venture on back to the Yang Gang.
Can I say, of all the candidates I've seen on the trail, you seem to be having the most fun, are you? Oh, it's a very low bar, you said.
Don't forget to support Andrew Yang. Get the Yang gang going.
It's awesome.
When's the last time you heard a politician say the words fourth
So we're here.
just now?
His jokes are pretty good. Like the Fourth Industrial Revolution one you just heard there. It's a pretty good one. Or the we all talk about our first time. His dance moves are like mine.
Because, I mean, it takes guts to come out and say,
Except less white.
every single American $1,000 a month just for being here.
Yeah.
Hey, look, there's 4 people watching my stream right now. That's cool. Thank you. Thank you for supporting. Don't forget to support Andrew Yang for 2020.
What sport is politics
Help him hit those donations because he absolutely needs them right now.
Like it's professional wrestling, which is not even quite a sport. You are here today, so you're what I call UBI curious. And
We've got the
I seem to be
Democratic.
something of a resource for people who are UBI curious. Favorite color is blue, but you can probably tell that.
I'm just curious if he is in fact going to boycott the next debate now that he's made it. I found that funny that some people were like, I'm boycotting that debate. It's because you didn't qualify. It's not boycotting if you're not able to, if you don't qualify to go. I'm boycotting that race. You didn't qualify, bro. I remember those days. Getting ready for tournaments. Like, hey, are you going to are you going to that? No, I'm boycotting that. Why? Oh, that's right. You're boycotting it because you didn't make the qualifier. You can't really boycott something you weren't invited to. Just a joke.
Yes, this is the nerdiest presidential campaign in history.
Alrighty, let's do
People say to me
that.
all the time, "You don't sound like any politician I've ever heard
Stage.
before."
Go back. Some of the questions that he has, and they're like, what is the freedom dividend? Why does Andrew Yang want to implement the freedom dividend in America? Why do you think the freedom dividend in and who would get the freedom dividend in Andrew Yang's plan? How would we pay for the freedom dividend? It's done through a VAT tax, value add tax. What's the benefits of the freedom dividend? Free money. Wouldn't an value add tax just get passed on to consumers, canceling out the UBI? It's a good possibility depending on how you structure it. He talks about it. Read it. Would it stack with Social Security or other veterans with disability benefits? It's an either-or situation, if I remember correctly, as he put it here. On top of the $1,000 per month. So you would get your Social Security, DEI, supplemental tested program, both collect $1,000 a month. Most people are legally disabled to receive SSDI and SSI under the universal income. Those would be disabled. Choose between collecting SSDI and the 1,000 or collecting SSDI and SSI, whichever is more generous. So you'd pick which one you would want in that case. And that makes sense. Won't people stop working? Not really. There are people that, like myself, that just prefer to work. I could have qualified for SSDI. I actually, while I was in the military and was getting my medical retirement and getting evaluated, I actually took the time and was fortunate enough and was allowed to make my case to be able to have the right to work. Some of my fellow veterans were retired and not given the right to work. Which means they can't legally hold a job. They're not allowed to collect their disability and work. I'm allowed to collect my disability and work to a point. I've yet to hit that ceiling. But if you're collecting SSDI and you don't have the right to work, you can't make more than like $10,000 a year or something like that. I forget what it is, without sacrificing your benefits. Isn't this communism / socialism? Yeah, it pretty much is. Which I always think is funny is, like, if you really look at like how socialism works and how it worked in communist countries, it failed miserably each and every time. I mean, look at Venezuela, for heaven's sakes. They were one of the richest countries, one of the richest countries in the world, and now their people are starving. Well, their former president Maduro, he's a dork. He's over there eating at salt and you know, doing all those crazy things while his people starve. And you wonder why you're hated. You know. But, so we have what is the freedom dividend. You know, meet Andrew, my favorite one. So we leave that up like that. "40 fellows and more than 500 fellows and alumni had launched a dozen campaigns. You know, and his fear of automation is legit. You know, a lot of people who work in working class America, who are assemblers, tradesmen, they're worried about it. You know, and with the leveraging of AI and all that fun stuff and machine learning, for those of you who want to know what AI Lite is, machine learning is the same thing. It's pretty similar. Let's see here. So that's what he has. Join the fight. Something like that. What do you want, Mel? Hear the cat? He's meowing. Why are you bugging me, dude? He's like, I just want up on the chair and I don't want to have to claw my way up. Oh. If you haven't met him already. My wonderful co-host, Mel the cat. He's just purring away. Oh, where's he going? Oh, you're stuck, dude. Oh, he got stuck again. Claws. He likes his cheeks rubbed right here. You guys can hear him purring on the mic, I'm sure. We have to put a bell on this guy because he ninja moves, man. Alright, let's jump back to the Yang gang.
Can I just say, of all the candidates I've seen on the trail, you seem to be having the most fun, are you?
Oh, it's a very low bar you set, Trevor.
Well, electric cars, it's not something you have to do. It's awesome.
When's the last time you heard a politician say the words Fourth Industrial Revolution? Just now. And I am barely a politician. So, I'm a cool guy.
Because, I mean, it takes guts to come out and say, my plan is that we will give every single American $1,000 a month just for being here.
Yeah, it's like Monopoly, but instead of passing go, it's the first of the month.
You just get, yeah. But now here's the thing. I don't know if you've played Monopoly. It always ends in tears.
What sport is politics most like?
Wow, I think the sport that politics is most like is professional wrestling, which is not even quite a sport. You are here today, so you're what I call UBI curious. And I seem to be something of a resource for people who are UBI curious. Favorite color is blue, but you can probably tell that just by looking at my getup. A lot of identical looking outfits in the closet. If you've heard anything about me in my campaign, you've heard something like this. There's an Asian man running for president who wants to give everyone $1,000 a month. You remember hearing that? Remember the first time you heard that? Nothing quite like the first time, am I right?
I'm going to be the first president to use PowerPoint in the State of the Union. How do you feel about that? Yeah, break out the PowerPoint chant. Don't do it. Yes, this is the nerdiest presidential campaign in history.
People say to me all the time, you don't sound like any politician I've ever heard before, and they love it. They're not like, oh, get me a politician, fast. As a kid, I used to cut my own hair. I bought clippers, and I just go, they go around like that. Now I do not cut my own hair because, running for president. And, to upgrade me. Only 2 rules, it turns out. 35 or older, and natural-born citizen. So I was like, check and check. And then I was like, and then check number 3 is I went to my wife and was like, hey, baby, I think I'm going to run for president. She was like, that's nice, like, you know, pass the sauce.
And even the inventor of GDP at the time said this is a terrible measurement for national well-being and we should never use it as that. And here we are almost 100 years later following it off a cliff.
Retrain, reskill, higher productivity work, economy grows, all as well, right? You remember that from macroeconomics, that you've got to be in, and then forget that's I got an A.
I do support a carbon tax. You went to my website, Wolf, you would know this. Yang2020.com.
A study just came out that said that your data, our data, is now worth more than oil. How many of you received your data check in the mail? None of us. In Alaska, they call this the oil check, and they love it. We're going to call this the tech check, and all of America is going to love it. And what is the oil of the 21st century? Marijuana, that's right.
It's a great question. My father actually got a PhD in physics. I'm talking to him like he's here. He's not here. just disappeared from the screen.
USA! USA! Are you chanting USA or US Yang? I couldn't even tell.
So how have you been going about preparing? Like, what are you, take us behind the scenes.
So what happens is I have 9 staffers who then emulate the other, I'm kidding, we don't do that.
How many of you all like documentary films? How many of you have access to a Netflix password? I was off the trail for a couple days taking care of my kids, and you know what I said after 2 days? Get me back to running for president as soon as possible. I'm just going to tell a joke about AI because, you know, I thought it was funny. How far behind is China than the U.S. in AI? And the joke is 12 hours. I've met most of the other candidates who are running. I have to say one of the fun things about running for president is you actually meet the other candidates. What happens is you're in a green room and you're hanging out together and they're just like, hey, what's up, Beto? And so like I like and admire most of the other candidates, except for that one. No, I'm kidding. So that's what it is. Why to do it? Because our economy is being transformed in ways that are going to displace millions of American workers, and it's already happening. Can we afford it? Yes. Will it cause inflation? No. Is it awesome? Yes. Is anyone trying to make it happen? Yeah, that guy. And I am the ideal candidate for that job because the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. Thank you very much, Democrats. Thank you very much. Let's make America think harder and win. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Can I just say, of all the candidates I've seen on the trail, you seem to be having the most fun, are you?
Oh, it's a very low bar you set, Trevor.
Well, electric cars, it's not something you have to do. It's awesome.
When's the last time you heard a politician say the words Fourth Industrial Revolution? Just now. And I am barely a politician. So, I'm a cool guy.
Because, I mean, it takes guts to come out and say, my plan is that we will give every single American $1,000 a month just for being here.
Yeah, it's like Monopoly, but instead of passing go, it's the first of the month.
You just get, yeah. But now here's the thing. I don't know if you've played Monopoly. It always ends in tears.
What sport is politics most like?
Wow. I think the sport that politics is most like is professional wrestling, which is not even quite a sport. You are here today, so you're what I call UBI curious. And I seem to be something of a resource for people who are UBI curious. Favorite color is blue, but you can probably tell that just by looking at my getup. There are a lot of identical looking outfits in the closet. If you've heard anything about me in my campaign, you've heard something like this. There's an Asian man running for president who wants to give everyone $1,000 a month. You remember hearing that? Remember the first time you heard that? Nothing quite like the first time, am I right?
I'm going to be the first president to use PowerPoint in the State of the Union. How do you feel about that? Yeah, break out the PowerPoint chant. Don't do it.
People say to me all the time, you don't sound like any politician I've ever heard before, and they love it. They're not like, oh, get me a politician, fast.
As a kid, I used to cut my own hair. I bought clippers, and I just go, they go around like that. Now I do not cut my own hair because, you know, I'm running for president, and they decided to upgrade me. Only 2 rules, it turns out. 35 or older, and natural-born citizen. So I was like, check and check. And then I was like, and then check number 3 is I went to my wife and was like, hey, baby, I think I'm going to run for president. And she was like, that's nice, like, you know, pass the sauce.
And even the inventor of GDP at the time said this is a terrible measurement for national well-being and we should never use it as that. And here we are almost 100 years later following it off a cliff.
Retrain, reskill, higher productivity work, economy grows, all is well, right? You remember that from macroeconomics, that you got to be in, and then, yeah, that's right. I got an A.
I do support a carbon tax. You went to my website, Wolf, you would know this. Yang2020.com.
A study just came out that said that your data, our data, is now worth more than oil. How many of you received your data check in the mail? None of us. In Alaska, they call this the oil check, and they love it. We're going to call this the tech check, and all of America is going to love it.
And what is the oil of the 21st century? Marijuana, that's right.
It's a great question. My father actually got a PhD in physics. I'm talking to him like he's here. He's not here. just disappeared from the screen.
USA! USA! Are you chanting USA or US Yang? I couldn't even tell.
So how have you been going about preparing? Like, what are you, take us behind the scenes.
So what happens is I have 9 staffers who then emulate the other, I'm kidding, we don't do that.
How many of you all like documentary films? How many of you have access to a Netflix password?
I was off the trail for a couple days taking care of my kids, and you know what I said after 2 days? Get me back to running for president as soon as possible.
I'm just going to tell a joke about AI because, you know, I thought it was funny. How far behind is China than the U.S. in AI? And the joke is 12 hours. I've met most of the other candidates who are running. I have to say one of the fun things about running for president is you actually meet the other candidates. What happens is you're in a green room and you're hanging out together and they're just like, hey, what's up, Beto? And so like I like and admire most of the other candidates, except for that one. No, I'm kidding. So that's what it is. Why to do it? Because our economy is being transformed in ways that are going to displace millions of American workers, and it's already happening. Can we afford it? Yes. Will it cause inflation? No. Is it awesome? Yes. Is anyone trying to make it happen? Yeah, that guy.
And I am the ideal candidate for that job because the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. Thank you very much, Democrats. Thank you very much. Let's make America think harder and win. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Can I just say, of all the candidates I've seen on the trail, you seem to be having the most fun. Are you?
Oh, it's a very low bar you set, Trevor.
Well, electric cars, it's not something you have to do. It's awesome.
When's the last time you heard a politician say the words Fourth Industrial Revolution? Just now. And I am barely a politician.
So, I'm a cool guy.
Because, I mean, it takes guts to come out and say, my plan is that we will give every single American $1,000 a month just for being here.
Yeah, it's like Monopoly, but instead of passing go, it's the first of the month.
You just, yeah, but now...
It's professional wrestling, which is not even quite a sport. You are here today, so you're what I call UBI curious. And I seem to be something of a resource for people who are UBI curious. Favorite color is blue, but you can probably tell that just by looking at my getup. There are a lot of identical looking outfits in the closet.
If you've heard anything about me in my campaign, you've heard something like this. There's an Asian man running for president who wants to give everyone $1,000 a month. You remember hearing that? Remember the first time you heard that? Nothing quite like the first time, am I right?
I'm going to be the first president to use PowerPoint in the State of the Union. How do you feel about that? Yeah, break out the PowerPoint chant. Don't do it. PowerPoint! 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 Yes! PowerPoint! PowerPoint! Yes, this is the nerdiest presidential campaign in history!
People say to me all the time, you don't sound like any politician I've ever heard before, and they love it. They're not like, oh, get me a politician, fast.
As a kid, I used to cut my own hair. I bought clippers, and I just go, they go around like that. Now I do not cut my own hair because, you know, I'm running for president, and they decided to upgrade me. Only 2 rules, it turns out. 35 or older, and natural-born citizen. So I was like, check and check. And then I was like, and then check number 3 is I went to my wife and was like, hey, baby, I think I'm going to run for president. She was like, that's nice, like, you know, pass the sauce.
And even the inventor of GDP at the time said this is a terrible measurement for national well-being and we should never use it as that. And here we are almost 100 years later following it off a cliff.
Retrain, reskill, higher productivity work, economy grows, all is well, right? You remember that from macroeconomics, that you got to be in, and then forgot. That's I got an A.
I do support a carbon tax. You went to my website, Wolf, you would know this. Yang2020.com.
A study just came out that said that your data